Hi everyone, so today we're going to continue on with chapter 9, section 1, creating a table of values. So last week on Friday we went over making a table of values. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give you the equation and you're going to have to make a table of values just like it says. So you're going to kind of pick whatever numbers you want to use for x. Here I'm using 0, 1, 2, -1, and -2. So that's going to go in the first column. In the middle, you're going to go ahead and put that equation of the line. So, right, our equation is y is equal to 4x squared. So in here, we're going to write y is equal to 4x squared. And then this last column is our coordinates. So it's going to be our x, whatever we're using for our x, comma y, whatever we get as our answer when we go ahead and plug in for x and y. So if I say x is equal to 0, what's our y value going to be? Well, to figure that out, we have to, wherever in this equation there's an x, we're going to plug that number in. So here we have 4 times 0 squared. According to PEMDAS, we do our exponents first. So we're going to do 0 squared, so 0 times 0, which is 0, times 4, which gives us 0. So our coordinates are 0, 0. Then for x is equal to 1. So wherever there's an x, we're going to go ahead and plug in 1. So our equation will be 4 times 1 squared. 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is 1, times 4, which is 4. So our coordinates are 1, 4. Then we have x is equal to 2. Well, we go ahead, wherever there's an x, we plug in 2. So we have y is equal to 4 times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 4 gives me 16. So my coordinates are 2, 16. Then we have -1. What's our coordinate? What are we going to do? We're going to plug -1 in for x. -1 squared, remember, whenever we square a negative number, it becomes positive. So -1 squared is equal to 1 times 4, which is 4. So our coordinates are -1, 4. And then we have -2. So wherever there's an x, we plug in -2. -2 squared is positive 4. Positive 4 times positive 4 gives me 16. So our coordinates are -2, 16. So let's try this one. Make the table of values. Y is equal to x squared minus 7. Once again, these are the numbers I pick. This is your equation, so we're trying to figure out what our y value is. And then over here, this is our coordinates. So whatever our x was, comma, whatever we found for our answer. So x is equal to 0. What are we going to do? Wherever there's an x, we plug in 0. So we do 0 squared minus 7. 0 squared is 0. Minus 7 gives me -7. So our coordinates are 0, -7. Then we have 1. Wherever there's an x, we plug in 1. 1 squared is 1. Minus 7 is -6. So our coordinates are 1, -6. X is equal to 2. So what are we going to do? Wherever there's an x, we're going to plug in 2. So we have 2 squared, which is 4 minus 7. So 4 minus 7 gives me -3. So my coordinates are 2, -3. Now we have -1. Wherever there's an x, we go ahead and plug in -1. So now I have -1 squared minus 7. -1 squared, remember, negative squared gives us a positive, so we have -1 times -1, which is +1. So 1 minus 7 gives me -6. So my coordinates are -1, -6. Then we have -2. Wherever there's an x, we go ahead and plug in -2. So we have -2 squared minus 7. -2 squared is 4. So 4 minus 7 gives me -3. So my coordinates are -2, -3. Now we're going to go over graph transformations. So our parent function is y is equal to x squared. This is the main function, so this is like the main parabola. So from the parent function, we're going to get what I like to call them our children functions. So these are the graphs that undergo transformation. So you have this parent function, and we're going to add things onto this graph. So we're going to throw some numbers in front of the x squared. We're going to add and subtract numbers. We're going to throw a negative sign in front of the x squared. So all of those are going to have meaning. So it's going to differ from this original graph. This original graph I had shown you last week when we did the PowerPoint, when I introduced you guys to parabolas. That original parent graph, that's the one, the vertex is going to be at 0, 0. All of these other ones, the vertex is going to be somewhere different. Something's going to happen. The graphs are going to stretch. They're going to shrink. They're going to move up. They're going to move down. They're going to reflect. So we're going to go over how to figure out what's going on with each of those graphs. So if you have y is equal to a number, x squared, and I'm just using the number sign here instead of using, if you're looking in your textbook, it might have the letter A there or something. I'm just using the number sign right now for you guys. So if this number is a whole number, and what I mean by whole number, I mean any positive number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, then the graph is going to be vertically stretched by a factor, whatever that number is. So think of it as stretching a rubber band. When you take the rubber band and you pull it apart, it's stretching it, so it's getting bigger. That's what's going to happen with this graph. So think about it as you're going to be stretching it. And if this number is a fraction, then the graph is vertically shrunk by factor, whatever that number is. So think of it as you're going to step on a soda can to make it smaller. So if you have a fraction, you're going to be like, you're going to think of it as, like I just said, stepping on a soda can to make it smaller. Think of it as you're squashing that graph down. So whole number, stretch by factor, whatever that number is, and fraction, shrink by factor, whatever that number is. So whole number makes it bigger, fraction makes it smaller. And then we can have something that looks like y is equal to x squared plus the number. So when we have plus a number, the graph is going to move up x amount of units. So whatever our number is, it's going to move up that many units. That's what I mean by x. So plus, graph goes up. Same thing, now we can have y is equal to x squared minus a number. So when we have minus a number, the graph will move down x amount of units. So whatever is right after that minus sign, that's how many units down the graph is going to go. So plus after the x squared means it goes up. Subtraction sign or minus sign means the graph goes down. And then now we can have y is equal to negative x squared. So if there's a negative or a subtraction sign in front of the x squared, then there's going to be what we call a reflection. Think of a reflection as turning a page in the book or turning a piece of paper over. So the graph is going to, that's essentially what the graph is doing across the axis. For this, at this point in time, I just want you guys to know negative means reflection. So let's practice some. So what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you the equation, and you're going to tell me what the transformation is. Now, all those transformations we went over, there could be one transformation, there could be two, or there could be a combination of three. What I mean by that is a graph can just have a reflection, a graph can just move up, or a graph can either stretch or shrink. Graph is never going to stretch and shrink vertically at the same time. A graph is never going to move up and down at the same time. So keep that in mind. So it can reflect, and then it can either move up or down, and it can either move You can either stretch or shrink vertically. Later on, when you guys get to Algebra 2, and if you ever take pre-calculus, it can start doing horizontal shifts, but we're not going to worry about the horizontal. Right now, just think vertically. So we're going to practice. So state the transformation. Y is equal to x squared plus 10. So I want to know, what's going on with this graph here? So we have a plus 10. What did a number to the right of x squared mean? So if we had plus a number, what does that mean? It means the graph is shifted up how many units? 10 units. State the transformation. Y is equal to x squared minus 5. What's going on here? We have a minus 5. And what does minus a number do? Minus a number means the graph is being shifted down by how many units? Whatever this number is. So down 5 units. State the transformation. Y is equal to 5x squared. We have a 5 in front of x squared. When the 5 is in front of the x squared, what does that mean? That the graph is being stretched by what? By factor 5. State the transformation. Y is equal to 1/2 x squared. So what's going on here? We have a 1/2, and when the 1/2 is in front, we only have two options, either stretch or shrink. Because it's a fraction, the graph is going to be shrunk by factor 1/2. So we're going to, once again, state the transformation. Y is equal to negative 4x squared plus 5. Now there's a couple things going on in this graph here. We have a negative sign. So what's the negative sign mean? Negative in front means the graph is reflected. Then we have this 4. What does a 4 in front of x squared mean? Well, if it's a whole number, that means the graph is going to be stretched by what? By 4. So the graph is stretched by 4. This should be a 4, not a 5. So graph is stretched by 4. And then what do we have? And then we have our plus 5. So what does that mean is going on here? When we have a plus at the end, that means the graph is shifted up 5 units. So negative, graph is reflected. 4, graph is stretched by factor 4. And then plus 5, graph is shifted up 5 units. So let's state the transformation. Y is equal to 1/3 x squared minus 7. So what's going on here? We have our 1/3. So when the 1/3 is in front, what does that mean? It means our graph is shrunk by factor 1/3. And then when we have this minus 7, what's going on with the graph? The graph is being shifted down 7 units. So, as always, here is our pet of the day. This right here, this is your classmate Colin's bird. His name, this little bird's name is Pepe. This is a Mexican red-head parrot. It's also known as a green-cheeked Amazon. Pepe is about 20 years old, and this type of bird can live up to 50 plus years. Pepe, as you can see, has red and green feathers, and he can say a couple of words like hello and mom. Most of the time, if anyone in the family is laughing, Pepe will laugh too. Pepe can sometimes be let out of the cage, and if they let him out, he likes to fly around and land on people. Pepe was rescued. He was found outside starving. They got Pepe down by luring him with a Lauren came down from the tree with a piece of bread. Pepe was very lucky that Colin's family had found him. Pepe has a little perch, and he likes to sit on this perch and watch television with the family. Pepe loves to have his head scratched, and Pepe can sometimes be a little moody. When he's feeling a little moody, if you don't move away fast enough, sometimes Pepe likes to bite you. Pepe looks like a good little bird. So, some daily reminders. Your homework's assigned daily, and it's posted in Plus Portals and Google Classroom. Upload your homework to Classroom or email it to me before the start of class. Your test packets are due to me tomorrow, Tuesday, June 9th, and on Friday, June 12th, you guys will have a quiz. So this Friday, you'll have a quiz. Any incomplete or missing work, please make sure that you're handing it in. Your marking period does end next week. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to send me an email. We can always arrange to have a Zoom or a Google Meet. We can always do something. Please don't wait until the last minute if you guys need any help. Ask me now. We can always arrange to have a little meeting. Have a great day, guys.